Hello, I'm Tom English, and this video is on lesson 4 in algebra, graphing linear equations. What is a linear equation, first of all? It's an equation where both x and y are in the first degree. And let's pick a equation 2y minus 6x is equal to 4. And the first thing in order to graph that is we want to rewrite that equation, solve it in terms of y, and it'll make it a lot easier to assign values and then place them on the graph. Let's again, if we want to solve for y, we want y on the left side, everything else on the right side. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 6x to both sides. I now have 2y is equal to 6x plus 4. I don't want 2y, I want y. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And my equation is now y is equal to 3x plus 2. Now the first thing we do is make what I call a T-box. Basically, we're going to have a relationship between x and y. So we put x on one side, y on the other, and above it is the equation that we're solving. And what I always suggest is that we use a positive value for x, 0, and a negative value for x. And I usually start with plus 1 and minus 1, but depending on the size of the graph, the scale, and so forth, you might want to bump that up, and we'll talk about that a little later as well. But let's just use those values for right now. So we're going to say x is a plus 1, 0, and a minus 1. When x is a plus 1, then y is equal to 3 times 1 plus 2, or 5. When x is 0, then y is 2. And when x is a negative 1, that becomes negative 3 plus 2, and y is also a negative 1. So these are the coordinates of 3 points, which should give us a nice straight line. If the points aren't spread far enough, then you might want to add a couple more points in here to make sure you're wide enough on the graph that you're going to get a good clean line. Let's start with 1, 5. X is 1 over 1 on the x-axis and up 5 on the y-axis. So that point would be right here. And I always strongly recommend, as soon as you put the point, put the coordinates with it. In this case, it's 1, 5. Our second point is 0, 2. We call this the y-intercept. When x is 0, that's everything that's on the y-axis. So the value is 0, 2. What we're saying, this is where the line is going to cross the y-axis. So we call it the y-intercept. And then our third point is negative 1, negative 1. So on the x-axis we go back 1, on the y-axis we go down 1, and we have minus 1, minus 1. Now take a straight edge, and if we've done this correctly, those 3 points will be in a nice line, and we just extend the line right through them. Now, obviously if the 3 aren't in a line, then we got to go back and check our values, because obviously something is wrong. But they should be in a straight line, all 3 points. And if, for instance, we had 3 very close together, that's where I suggest you put some bigger values in for x to find values of y, and we'll have the 3 points spread. I hope you see this is fairly simple. This equation, by the way, happens to be something we call the slope-intercept. And if you look at it, you'll notice that when x is 0, y is 2. That's the y-intercept. So just looking at the equation, we know that that 2 is the intercept point, so that's an easy point. On another lesson, we're going to talk about the slope. The slope is the steepness of the line, and we're going to find out that the coefficient of x is the definition of that slope. We'll do that in the next lesson. Thank you.